Hey, what's up, YouTube world? It is your girl here, Dana Monet, and I am here. This is my first video of 2017, and I am here to recap and review the New Edition story. Okay, I know it came on January 24th, 25th, and 26th, so I've probably watched the series probably about a good 6 or 7 times. So I have enough info where I could give a real thorough review, because I know people have already put out reviews and stuff like that and I wasn't going to do it. But now is the time. And it's kind of fitting. Today is February 1st, Black History Month. And this movie, it was just Black excellence at its finest. So before I get into the review of the movie, I just wanted to note like some key points. I just want to tell you who the main actors were who played you know, New Edition in the movie. If you don't already know, I know all their names and follow them on social media now. First of all of them are bae, but I'm particularly fond of 3 of them. Well, 4. Depends on the day of the week. Anyway, so, okay, Algee Smith, who plays Ralph, one of the ones I'm very fond of. He's adorable. Elijah Kelly plays Ricky. Brashear Gray, aka Yaz, aka Hakeem from Empire, plays Michael Bivins. Woody McLean plays Bobby Brown, another one of my faves. Keith Powers plays Ronnie DeVoe. Keith is also one of my baes. And Luke James plays Johnny Gill, another one of my baes. Okay, so I just want to clarify, if anybody was confused about it before or didn't know, these actors were really singing in the movie. There's their real voices. These actors are actually really talented and can sing and can act and can dance. And I just have to say, the moment I knew that Luke James was going to be in this movie playing Johnny Gill, I was like, oh yeah, that boy is singing, because that boy can sing. I first known him for opening up for Beyonce in Atlantic City on the Revel tour and Mrs. Carter show. Just speaking of Beyonce real quick, just found out today she's pregnant with twins. Woo, she stopped the world again. World stop. Carry on. Okay, back to New Edition. So I've been so like into New Edition. I've been like watching, obviously in addition to watching the movie, I've been listening to all the songs, downloaded playlists on Tidal and YouTube, watching old interviews, watching current interviews of the cast and of New Edition themselves, watching old music videos, performances, you know, and I'm not even like sick of it yet. I'm not quite New Editioned out yet. So we'll see when that happens, but you know, I'm pretty good right now. I did just want to say, I mentioned that you know, the whole Black excellence thing, and this was like definitely so for this movie. You know about Black Girl Magic. This was Black Boy Joy in this movie. That's a new hashtag we're coining. And in addition to New Edition getting the star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame, like this movie was literally like all black. Like, first of all, it's on BET, Black Entertainment Television, and BET, y'all did the damn thing, because I was getting a little worried about these biopics about our people. It just hasn't been working right. Like, Lifetime just need to stop. Let's just give them to BET going forward. So, you know, we had a Black director, Chris Robinson. We had a Black executive producer, Jesse Collins. We had a Black writer, I forget what the name is, either the first or last name is Abdul. Had Black casting directors. I looked this all up on IMDb, and they were female because they just had to be female for the lookers that they got for this movie. I mean, come on. All these boys are cute. And they're obviously New Edition themselves. They co-produced the movie. Also, Brooke Payne, who was at the start of their careers and taught them how to be professional and perform and to do a good 2-step kickball change, turn, and pivot. Yes, God. Yes, he did. So I just have to say that, because I had to literally look that up. I was like, I think it was mostly Black people. I don't know if there was white people that was involved in this movie. I do apologize. I didn't point you out, but it seemed like it was mostly Black people that was involved in the movie. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So we are now putting some respect on New Edition's name. Yes, baby, I'm coining your phrase. Put some respect on their names. Okay, so enough of all of that. Let's get into the first part. So the first part starts off in 1997. They're on their Home Again tour in New Mexico, and Bobby is up there singing, "Everybody's talking all this stuff about me. Why don't they just let me live? Tell me why." And Ronnie is backstage. He's not having. He's like, how long he been on the stage? Because you know Bobby be performing for 2 hours, and I don't even know if he has that much material to be performing for 2 hours, but for some reason he does that. You know, it's 5 other people on this tour, and y'all got branched off into different. Y'all got Ralph Tresvant, you got Johnny Gill, you got BBD, and you got to do New Edition stuff. Like, Bobby, we don't have time for this. So Ronnie runs out. He's like, fuck this shit. About the cutest music. Y'all give it up for Bobby Brown, but are you ready for some BBD? And he just basically kicks him off the stage, and we hear, and you know, Bobby gets pissed off. His henchmen like, what you gonna do? You got yes men around him, and you see him proceed to get the fire hose, and it gets a mess, and there's a fight that breaks out, and a gunshot that goes off, and then we see it rewind, you know, back to the beginning, back to the wholesome little boys from the OP, Orchard Park Projects in Roxbury, aka Boston. So it starts off with Bobby, well, Ricky and Mike go to a talent show that Bobby is performing in, well, supposed to perform in, because he gets stage fright. Imagine that, Bobby Brown having stage fright. So they decide that they want to start a little group, but they felt like they need more members. So they keep on talking about this Corey and Travis person, and Ricky and Mike is like, nah. But Ricky is like, I know who we can get. So they get Kung Fu Fighting, you know, Ralph, you know what I mean, going up in there or whatever. He's doing all of that stuff. So they basically recruit him, and then they're in, I think they're in Ricky's apartment, and they're trying to practice or whatever. And Frida Gatz, I don't know what her name is in the movie. I think it's Peanut, but we're calling her Frida Gatz. She's in there like, if y'all serious, you need to think about getting with Brooke Payne. So apparently they just know where this nigga hang out or something like that. So they out late in the alley, and he looked like he coming from I don't know where, trying to, you know, he trying to, you know, get some, you know, good for the night. He's not thinking about no little kids and stuff like that. So Mike Bivins and his bold self go up and be like, you manage the transitions and the untouchables. We want you to manage us. And then just right to the point. So he's like, I don't work with kids, get off my car. So they like, no. And they start dancing for him. They like, when I had you to myself, I didn't want you around. They was all extra, but it was enough to get his attention, and he decided to work with them from there. So, you know, he starts working with them, and that first song that they sing, that holding on, it's kind of hard to do when love is gone. You know, I did not know that song before this show, and I really like that song. I think I like them singing it, and they'd be like, ha ha ha, who are you here? Or whatever. Love that. So then, it's actually a couple of years that have passed according to the movie, but they end up, you know, doing another talent show where the prize is not money this time. It's a chance to record a demo with Maurice Starr, a famous producer in that area. And then at that moment they sing, stop, no, you better save it, my favorite Jackson 5 song. And we see Ralph and Bobby kind of cut up, and the little boy who played Bobby, let me tell you, you cannot tell me that Bobby Brown didn't pop that little boy out himself, because that little boy looked so much like Bobby Brown, and he totally like embodied Bobby. He had his like mannerisms. He just was doing these big eyes, like, you know, this was Bobby's move. This was his move. Yeah, and little Ralphie, come on now. Little Ralphie was getting it. So they do Stop the Love You Save, and they didn't win the show, but Maurice Starr felt like they should get the demo too. So he brings them in, and he's like, y'all need to get another member. We need 5. We're trying to go for that Jackson 5 type of appeal, so you need to get 5. So they recruit Ronnie DeVoe, you know what I'm saying, who is Brooke Payne's nephew. So Ronnie comes in, you know, and he fits right in, blends right in with them and everything like that. So then they go to the studio, and this is the them recording Candy Girl, you're on my world, you look so sweet, you're a special treat, So they go in there and they record that. Well, Ralph is recording that. Nobody else is really singing. This is kind of the theme of what happens to them early on in their career. But then Maurice actually offers Ralph a solo deal. And Ralph decides that, nah, B, you can't just have me. You got to have me and my homies. So Maurice gives in and signs all of them. And you know, they're given the contracts, which they don't read, which, you know, we see how that ends up turning out. But they get all hype, yo, when he's like, you're gonna get a signing bonus of $500 and a Betamax machine. And like, ooh, $500, woo! And the moms are even happy too. I'm like, I know that $500 may seem like a lot of money to y'all, but that is not shit diddly squat, especially when we're talking about an advance for a record deal. So come on now. You gotta chill with that. They was good on Streetwise, but I was like, okay, they got their mopeds or whatever, they doing what they do. So then they're performing at Roseland in New York, and I was like, okay, I look up on the marquee and it says New Edition, Curtis Blow and Madonna. So is this Madonna like a virgin? Madonna, like, okay, this is 1983, so this is before Like a Virgin, because I was like, shit, Madonna's opening up for New Edition. That must have been in her You Must Be My Lucky Star days or something like that, like before she really burst on the scene. But I was like, you better go ahead. Anyway, so they get up there and they sing Candy Girl. My girl's like candy, a candy tree. She knocks me high up off my feet. And Bobby does his little, I need your love each and every day. You know, he does that. And I love Ricky's part at the end. I need it every day. You know, that's the thing that he likes to do. I love that part of the song. So, you know, of course they kill it. And then, you know, we go into them doing all of these shows, going back and forth to New York. The moms confront Brooke. Well, two of the moms confront Brooke, talking about how, why they ain't got no money. They got a video out, they on TV, you know, they touring, they going back and forth, like, where's the money at? And Brooke is like, yo, they got a booking agent that handles the money. I don't handle the money. I get them ready to perform. And they already thinking shit is shady or whatever, but they blaming Brooke for that. And, you know, that's not right. You know what I mean? He has their back. You need to go to the top dogs, right? So then they embark on the Candy Girl tour. And this is one of my favorite parts of the movie. They're singing, is this the end? Are you my friend? Ooh. Okay, so you know I'm going to be singing throughout this recap, right? Okay, so it's my favorite part of the movie because in the US, they start out as the little boys, right? They go over to the UK and they morph into the men. I'm gonna do the part. It's Ricky singing, Mama told me one day it was gonna happen, wish it would have happened then. Mama told me it happened, much was old. I'm messing up the lyrics, I'm sorry. I know the lyrics. Told me it would happen when I was much older, wish it would have happened then. So he sings it again. Mama told me one day it was gonna happen, but she never told me when. And then his voice even changes. And then we see Ricky change. And then we see Ralph change. And then we see Bobby change. And then we see Ronnie change. And then we see Mike change. And then they just like morph. It was like the best thing. That's like my second favorite part of the whole movie. So they do this. And I gotta know, is this the end, girl? Okay, I just had to do that part. So they get off tour, they on the Candy Girl bus, and they have to go back to the projects. Why? Because they ain't got no money. So they done toured all over the world and only got $1.87 to show for it. Now, I did hear conflicting reports that actually each member got $1.87 as opposed to them splitting a check for $1.87, but either way, it's still only $1.87 and that ain't shit and that ain't right. So the moms get together and they decide to fire Brooke which is messed up because he's like, you know, I don't know nothing about dealing with no lawyers and no record companies and stuff like that, but I'm the one who puts food in their bellies. I'm the one who buys their costumes. I'm the one who's disciplining them, breaking up the fights or whatever. I'm like their father figure. And then after he says all of that, which they should appreciate, you know, they just kick him to the curb, which was messed up. But thankfully, he stuck around and, you know, they still respect him, you know, to this day, and he's still around and he helped out with the movie. So because of that, he also was a co-producer, by the way. So then the moms decide to hire Gary. Flo DeVoe is really not feeling it. Lala, she's like, y'all done fired my brother. Now you're trying to hire this white man. You think that he gonna really look out for them? No. But anyway, they end up getting signed to MCA, and they go into the building, into the office, and they start singing, "Popcorn love, she's more than that to me. Popcorn love, wait, they will see." And Gerald, aka Tank, is not impressed with them. He's like, what is this bubblegum mess? And then, you know, these little boys, I don't know, what is it, like 84? It's still 83? I don't know, they about 14, 15 years old. They got them a little apartment in LA and stuff like that. And these motherfuckers decide to have like an orgy with some Soul Train dancers. Like, all of them, just nasty little boys. I was like, ew, where are your mamas? Y'all all need spankings, okay? So, moving right along to part, okay. So it starts out with Ralphie talking to, and I call him Ralphie, Ralphie talking to Gary, saying, why I gotta sing all the parts? Like, can't we just give him some rap parts or something like on Candy Girl or whatever? So then all of a sudden, we see them singing Mr. Telephone Man, and Bobby has the lead, so we got a little Mr. Telephone Man, there's something wrong with my line. When I dial my baby's number, I get a click every time. And then, you know, Mike is in there, and he is kind of off key, and they call him out for that. Bobby's clowning him for that. So they go and they about to get into the limo and everything like that. Mike is mad because he don't want to sit in the middle, and he's like, fuck it, I'll go take a cab or something like that or whatever. So the security guards, they drive off, but they run over his foot, and he's like, stop the car. Yo, Brashear, let me tell you something about that boy. He embodied that Boston accent. If you really listen to the movie, he is the one actor who really was like, yo, stop the car, that's how I started, you know what I mean, pop the car, how the y'all, like, you know, that's how Mike Bivins talk like that. If you hear it, like, even if you listen to some of the songs where he does the rap part. So I appreciate Brashear for that. I noticed that type of stuff. So then, you know, Bobby starts talking shit to Mike and talk about how you're a little bitch, and then Mike has the audacity to spit in Bobby's face. Like, I know Bobby is an asshole, but spitting in somebody's face that's like a federal offense. So Bobby proceeds to jump on Mike's ass, and then they flip over and Mike is like choking Bobby or something like that. I heard in real life there were like scissors involved and like an almost stabbing. I don't know if that's the case, but whatever. Long story short, Mike almost got kicked out of the group for that. Almost got kicked out of the group, but Bobby was like, you know, I know he tried to kill me, but did he? You know, he didn't kill him. So they like, we don't want him out of the group. Gary always quick to kick somebody out the goddamn group. Like, all the time. It's like ridiculous. Anybody got time for that? So then we see them rehearsing, singing Mr. Telephone Man, doing the moves, and they got this, you know, this choreographer in there. He's very, how you doing? And he's doing all this extra stuff, you know, with the hips, and they're like, oh nah, forget that, I ain't doing that or whatever. So then we bring back Brooke Payne, and they're playing the Holding On. This love is gone. You know, they gotta play that when he comes in or whatever. And you know, Gary is like, no, you just here for choreography. That's it. You ain't the manager. I manage. You choreograph. And he's like, I get it. I get it. You know, you trying to think that you all big and stuff like that, but you can't handle these boys. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so that's why I'm coming. I'm gonna make it good again. You know what I mean? And they love themselves some Brooks, so they gonna do that, right? So then they are rehearsing at the stage where they're going to perform, and they're singing, "Cool it now, we got to slow it down. Ooh, watch out. You're gonna lose control." Yes, I will be doing the choreography throughout this recap as well. So they're singing that. And then Gary comes in, talk about it's too much pyrotechnics, too much. You got a castle, you got a DJ and a band. Like, what the hell is all this? This is too much out of our budget. We don't have the money for this. And they like, whatever. And then Ralph talks to him, and, you know, we could just do it for a couple of shows. And if you don't like it, we could scrap it. And then he's all like, you know, whatever for my lead singer. I don't know. The relationship that Gary had with Ralph, I don't know if anybody's feeling me on this, but it was like borderline perverted. I know that he saw Ralph as the lead singer and everything like that, but it was like a little bit too much. It was a bit much, you know. So Bobby could see that too, and Bobby was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm about to go find this chick. So this is when Bobby starts going out of control. So he's driving a yellow Corvette. I wanted to say red Corvette, but he's driving this yellow Corvette. I don't even think he has a license. I think he's only like 15 at this time, and he's speeding, running red lights and crap like that, like the dumbass he is. So he's in the car with this girl, and the cops pull him over, and he doesn't have his license or registration, obviously. So he gets arrested. So then Gary goes there to bail him out, and Gary finds out that he got the girl in the car, Malika, pregnant, and he's like, she get pregnant for it, and he's trying to talk about how she get an abortion, and Bobby don't want her to get an abortion or nothing like that or whatever. So, you know, it's all this extra stuff. He talked about how they found $6,000 in the car. He said that a friend loaned him the car, and a friend gave him the $6,000. I don't know, but I think he might have got the $6,000 from selling a little something, because clearly they not making any money as New Edition. Like, they touring, you know, they doing that type of stuff. They put them up and stuff, you know, but after they do all of that, they go the fuck back home to the projects. So, you know, he got that from selling or something. I'm convinced of that. So because of the fact that Bobby got arrested, they have to do this, like, say no to drugs, you know, performance, and they in the back dressing room, and they smoking weed. It was like if Bobby wouldn't have got pulled over, we wouldn't have to do this stupid ass show. And this is when we first get introduced to Johnny Gill, played by Luke James. He comes in the picture. He's like, you know, I just appreciate everything you do. You know, my favorite song is Mr. Telephone Man. And Bobby hype. Bobby like, yeah, you know, I like your boots and everything like that. So then one of their bodyguards / chaperone, Jeffrey, comes in and lets Bobby know, you know, Gary needs to talk to you. It's private. He said, whatever you can say in front of everybody, including Johnny. He's like, well, that girl from LA, she in labor. You about to be a daddy, motherfucker. And he's like, oh, like reality just set in, right? So so then we see them at the hospital, and they named the baby Landon because the plane was landing when she had the baby and everything like that. And then we also find out that Ralph got his girl Zena pregnant too, so we find that out. And then we also find out later that she ends up losing the baby. Oh, and just side note, this was when Johnny came in, this is when he was performing with Stacey Lattisaw. They have a song called Where Do We Go From Here? Look that up. They was teenagers, I don't know, 16 years old or something like that when they recorded that song. Sound like they done been through life, and that song gives me life. They are singing on that song. Check that out. They still don't have any money, and I said that earlier. So because they go home back to the projects, Gary doesn't come there with any money. He comes there with some receipts and, you know, just expenses and stuff like that. And they, you know, they really not having it. They like, what the hell is going on with this mess? You know what I'm saying? And he's like scared as shit because, you know, he's like, I don't want to get stabbed when I go back there again. So Gerald agrees to give him some money, but it's in advance. You know, they still got to pay it back. So that's not really going to help them. Fast forward to them on tour, and they're singing Mr. Telephone Man. You know, that's Bobby's song. You know, Mr. Telephone Man, and there's something wrong with my line. When I dial my baby's number, I get a click every time. Mr. Telephone Man, something's wrong with my line. So he's over there cutting up, ripping his shirt open and stuff like that. And then he goes out in the audience. He's like, Telephone Man, There's something wrong with my line when I dial baby girl in Oakland, cause you're all so damn fine. He say something like that. I was kind of feeling his little like ad-libs that he was doing. I was like, Bear, go ahead. But you know, the rest of the group wasn't feeling that, particularly Ralph. Like, I'm not feeling this shit. I'm cueing the next song. So then Cool It Down comes on. Well, actually right before that, when they decided to interrupt his little thing that he was having with the fans and everything like that, Bobby's like, this is my last performance with New Edition, and he throws the mic up or whatever and leaves the stage. And then Cool It Now starts, and Ralph is like, done the silly things. He's like, nothing just happened. I don't know. Who the hell is Bobby Brown? I don't know who that is. So he just starts going, and everybody else falls in line, and everything is fine. You know, everything would have been fine if Bobby would have just stayed backstage. But on his little rap part, he takes Mike Bivens' mic and says his rap, and Mike Bivens not having that. You know, they start fighting on stage. Won't be the last time. So, you know, then they're back on the tour bus, just Ralph, Ricky, Ronnie, and Mike, and Bobby is off somewhere because he wants them to make a decision about whether they want to kick Bobby out of the group. So they don't actually really want to kick Bobby out of the group, but when they genuinely think about, you know, the future and if he's really going to impact them in a negative way, they make the decision. But at the same time, even same thing with Brooke, they're kind of like pressured into it. So they didn't really want to kick Bobby out the group. But at the end of the day, I think it was all for the best, because there would have been no Johnny. And if there would have been no Johnny, there probably would have been no Can You Stand the Rain. And we can't have that, because that's my favorite New Edition song ever in life. So, yeah, so they end up kicking Bobby out the group, and he's just like somewhere in the hood, like on Crenshaw Boulevard or something. Oh no, they was in Oakland. So he in Oakland, that's even worse. Waiting for a taxi, and he just goes back home by himself. And then we see the moms gossiping about, you know, because Carol, who was Bobby's mom, was always bragging about him, and she was always the one that tried to be the leader, and now they like talking smack about her, talking smack about Bobby, talking about how they couldn't find him on the Candy Girl tour, had to call him on, had to go on the radio to find out where he is, all this mess. So now we see the boys are at Soul Train, just the four of them, and well, wait a second. I think I skipped some stuff, but just to rewind back a second, you know, Mike is kind of getting his boss thing on, you know, and he finds out that they're not actually signed to MCA, they're signed to Fast Break Productions, which is basically Gary Evans. So, you know, Mike is like not having that, so he tells the boys, yo, we gotta stop doing performances, we gotta stop doing shows, we gotta stop doing interviews, we gotta hit him where it hurts in his pockets or whatever. You know, so they not really feeling it yet. They like, I'm trying to move my mom out the projects. Like, we just moved out. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know what happens. Gary ends up being the fuck fired. And and Bobby is watching them perform Count Me Out while he's at home. You have to count me out. You have to count me out. So he's at home, you know, getting his little Coke ready and stuff like that. Oh, snap. I missed a very important part involving Bobby with Coke. Oh, the part where right after he had the baby, Gary says, I think this is going to slow him down a little bit. And Bobby's in the car with some hookers. Somebody is, I think, like giving him head or something while he's smoking and sniffing Coke at the same time. It was a real nasty sight. A little nasty as he's, again, like 15, 16 years old. Like, I can't even believe it. Like, he was doing that stuff. Well, now in hindsight I can, because it's Bobby Brown. But damn, that's some nasty stuff. But anyway, Gerald comes to talk to Bobby, and he comes to Boston in the cold, and he explains to Bobby, look, there's a clause in the contract that we are obligated to give you a solo album. And it seems like ding went off in Bobby's head, like, oh, I get a solo album? I get a solo album. So that starts Bobby's solo career. So then Mike fires Gary, gets himself a lawyer, fires Gary. Then we hear about, like a couple years have passed, about 2 years have passed, from 85 to 87. Ralph now wants to go solo. And he has a little song that he played in his house when the guys were there. And I was like, that's a nice song, but that doesn't sound very 87-ish. That sounds very 2017-ish. It was a cute song, but like it didn't fit with the time. So I just wanted to point that out. But the guys are not feeling Ralph trying to be solo. They like, you know, what we gonna do? And Ralph is calling him out, talking to Ronnie like, I've been doing all the damn singing, you just been dancing. Like, what the fuck? Like, the fuck I'm here for? I'm here to round out the group. I'm here to make this group official. And Ricky is like, you've been doing all the work. You've been doing all the work, motherfucker. I know how to sing. You know, and Ralph is like, well, now you can finally get to be the lead singer of the group or whatever. So Mike is like, fuck this shit. I'm not relying on him to eat. Because Ronnie is like, yo, without any, I pay the bills for my whole family. What am I going to do? So they tripping and pulling their hair. And Mike is like, I got to think of something. And think he does. So then Mike recruits Johnny Gill. And so they all go up to Minneapolis, Minnesota. And they meet with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. And they about to record this monster album, you know, because Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, they had just did, you know, Control, Janet Jackson and everything like that. Oh, and Ralph wanted to come out with his solo project, but Gerald shelved it, talking about how we need to do this New Edition album first. So Ralph shows up at the studio session, and he sees Johnny there. He's like, what the fuck is Johnny Gill doing here? What the fuck is this? Mike is like, he's a part of the group. So basically Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis didn't know that Ralph didn't know. Johnny didn't know that Ralph didn't know. So Mike was just like not telling people or whatever. And Ralph was like, just because I said I wanted to go solo didn't mean I wanted to lead the group. Like, what the hell? So Ralph is pissed off, and Johnny is like, I ain't do nothing. Like, Johnny is like, hands up, don't shoot, or something like that. So then we see Johnny singing Boys to Men. Growing up can be a pain. Come of age. And he was tearing it up. He was like, be a pain, be. And doing all that extra stuff that Johnny does, which I love. I love his extraness. I'm saying that in a complimentary way about that. So he was slaying that. Allegedly he did that in one take, killed that. So then, you know, Ralph and Johnny, they talk and they hash it out, and Johnny admits to him, like, you know, Mike came to me and he was like, no, you feel you got your just due as an artist, you know what I'm saying? Because that's Mike, whatever. But he basically said, you know, you here to replace Ralph. You know, it was like real talk, you know what I mean? But they hashed it out and they became cool and they became buddies and everything like that, which was the perfect segue into my absolutely favorite part of the movie. To perform my favorite song by New Edition ever, Can You Stand the Rain? You heard the pew, pew, ah. And ooh, yeah, ooh. I know I'm not gonna sing this whole song, but I am gonna sing parts. Because I need somebody who will stand by me. When it's time, she won't run. She will always be right there for me. Sunny days, everybody loves them. Tell me, baby, can you stand? Can you stand it? Oh, I don't know if many of y'all know this, but Ricky actually has my favorite part in the song. Ricky actually has my favorite part in a lot of songs. You know, he does, there's no pressure from me, baby. And I want you, and I need you, and I love you, baby. I was like, y'all better freaking sing. And then we go, ah. And then Mike is like, come on, let's go get wet. And then we hear Johnny, oh, everything was everything. Sorry. This was like such a great scene in so many ways, because just their camaraderie, just them kind of rooting each other on, them kind of bobbing to the music. Ricky looking at Johnny when he's doing his, oh, it's like, damn, nigga, you better sing that song. And Ralph over there, like, everything is working out. He's like, cause I need somebody. And Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, like, this is a hit. And I am like, yes, God, y'all better sing that damn song. I was looking at it like, I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so I'm done with Can You Stand the Rain. Not really. I could probably talk about Can You Stand the Rain for like another 10 minutes, but we don't have to do that. That's not necessary. So then we see them doing the Any Heartbreak photo shoot, looking like men. They done went from boys to men. They got their suits on and everything like that. They think they gully. So then they're in a rehearsal space, and you know what that looked like, that whole situation. You know they about to do the If It Isn't Love video. So Dwayne Martin comes in. So I forget what his name is in the movie. I think it's Lewis. But Dwayne Martin comes in and tells them, okay, y'all about to go on this tour, right? Y'all gonna get $30 million, and they all hype about that. And he's like, wait, hold up. There's one more thing. Bobby's coming with you on the tour. And they're all like, the fuck, nigga? Like, what the fuck? We gotta do it, Bobby's ass. Okay, so that's the end of part 2. So then we go into part 3. And I just have to say, the first 15 minutes of part 3 gave me life, because it was just all performances. It was just so many performances, like back to back to back. Like, I be getting tired doing these dance routines back to back to back, but I love them so much. Okay, so If It Isn't Love, you know, they started that out, you know, did that video to a T, you know, with Brooke Payne talking, and they over there going like this, using their towel, drinking their water, stretching and stuff. They aching and pain, but they get up and they do it, and it's like boom, ding, 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 you know, the dance, and then they're boom, 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 boom. I just feel, well, that's not the first verse. I don't love her. I tried to tell myself, you can see it in my eyes. And they got that choreography. It was so hot. And you know the part that everybody knows. If it isn't love, why do I feel this way? Why does she stay on my mind all the time? So then they go into the performance part, like they're on the tour and they're singing, and they're like, baby, she'll take me back. Don't you forget it, girl. You know, they doing all of that. And I was just like, feeling it. I was like, y'all better get it. And I got really tired after after dancing to that. But I absolutely loved it. So then we go into Bobby is at his Every Little Step video shoot. So we find out that whole Gumby haircut that he had in the video was done by accident, because old boy was distracted by looking at the girls, which I was kind of surprised that he was giving me kind of How You Doing vibes a little bit. So maybe he did like girls, I don't know. But that barber was kind of giving me How You Doing vibes. But he's like, what did you do? Like, I don't know. He got his suspenders on. He's like, and then he goes and starts singing the song. I didn't toss and turn, sleep at night, listen on the telephone, doing all the moves and everything. No matter what, not your friends try to tell you, people need to fall in love, then be together any kind of weather. It's like that. Oh, every little step I take, you will be there. Every little step I make, we'll be together. And they doing all of that. And he's getting it with them damn spandex and suspenders. I hate that damn outfit. But he was getting it though. So then they go into, well, right before they go into like one of my favorite performances, they're backstage and we see the little Al B. Sure cameo or whatever, and Bobby is like, you know, maybe next show in Philly, shout outs to Philly, because, you know, that's like my bordering state from Delaware. You know, says next show, you know, why don't I go right before y'all so then I could do some new edition numbers or whatever. And he's like, nah, we can't change the set list. And he's like, who's gonna sing Jealous Girl and Mr. Telephone Man? They'd be like, JG. And just so y'all know, he does give a little snippet of Jealous Girl. He was playing or something like that, but I really love that song. Fellas, there's a jealous girl in our town. Oh, baby. Okay, enough of that. Because then the next thing they go into is, sorry, you're not my kind of girl. You're the kind of girl that a man can call his own. Now this choreography is kind of complicated. I haven't been able to get it yet. Like, I'm able to see the choreography more on If It Isn't Love, even though it's difficult, but that You're Not My Kind of Girl, I think it's because there's so many different camera angles and they go in different places, but it's just kind of all over the place. But they getting it. They like, sorry, you're not my kind of girl. Not my kind. Ricky gets up and does his part, and he does his little spin. Just not that. Even though you're not my kind. They getting it on them steps, and then Johnny does my favorite part when he goes, sorry, woo, and he does a little shimmy like that. You know, so I'm feeling it. And then they do the you're not my sorry, you're not my kind of girl. So I just have a little tidbit to say about that song. That's one of my new like favorite songs. That's up there. That might be second to Can You Stand the Rain. Actually, now I did not know this song before the movie. Don't tell anybody that, but I did not know that song before the movie. So, but now I do, along with several others. So there y'all go. Anyway, so then after that performance, we see them getting on the tour bus. It's the end of the tour, and Mike Bivins gets stopped by these, you know, these boys, like, who are these kids? And he's like, yo, we want to sing for y'all, whenever. And they start singing this beautiful, for Mike Bivins, they start singing this beautiful rendition of Can You Stand the Rain? And we find out, you know, that that's Wanya, Nate, Sean, and Mike, otherwise known as Boys to Men, ABC, BBD. So, you know, he chuckled a little bit when he said their name is Boys to Men, and, you know, the rest is history with that. We know how that turned out, you know what I'm saying? So then they have the end of tour party somewhere in Cali, or probably in LA or whatever, somewhere out there. And Bobby is being a tacky mess while Brooke is giving the speech about, you know, Any Heartbreak being New Edition's best-selling album, and he's talking about Bobby's Don't Be Cruel album also being his best-selling album. You know, he had an album before Don't Be Cruel called King of Stage, had a song called Girlfriend on there, little tidbit for the youngins. Bobby comes out and he's like, you know, I'm the one who started New Edition, so both these cakes mine. So he digs his hand in the New Edition cake, and he digs his hand into the Bobby cake, and he gives the shit to Johnny. Like, what the hell? Like, this tacky motherfucker. Anyway, I have time for that. So Gerald is then talking to Johnny about how, you know, we want you to do your album with Motown instead of MCA, and Johnny's like, oh no, but he's like, yo, I'm getting the top producers for this, and yada yada yada. Got Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, got Babyface and all the people that's just gonna be hot, right? So then Ralph is over there talking to Dwayne Martin, talking about how now I can't put my solo album out. Bobby already did everything that I'm gonna do. How am I gonna put a solo album out? And Dwayne is like, you think that your solo album was gonna be bigger than Any Heartbreak? Like, well, technically Bobby's Don't Be Cruel album sold more copies than Any Heartbreak. So I'm not saying that it would have happened. I'm just saying that it could have happened, and it did, that one of the members sold more records than the actual New Edition. I'm just saying. And Ralph is like, you know, now we'll never know, whatever the case may be. So Bobby over there looking lonely, even though he got all those girls over there. He don't got his brothers, he don't got his boys. So then we see Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis talking to Ricky, Mike, and Ronnie. We're like, you know, since Johnny's doing his thing, Ralph about to do his thing, Bobby doing his thing, y'all should start a group. And they ain't never think about that. And Mike is like, hell yeah, we should start a group. You know, money's better split three ways. And then we go into Poison, the video shoot. Poison, Poison, girl, I must warn you. And we see that video, and we think we just looking at the video and all this type of stuff, and then we realize it's a video, and it's on Video Soul, old show that used to be on BET, and they're all doing the interview. And I have to say this about this interview, yo, when I watch this scene, I still can't watch this scene without cringing, because I was like, did they act that ridiculous in that interview, like that, like petty and everything like that? You know, right after I saw that scene, I literally like paused the movie and looked that shit up on YouTube. And yes, they did act like that. Actually, they acted worse. They didn't have enough time to do the full interview, but they acted worse. But the girl, the outfits to the T, honey, the girl looked just like the girl in the interview back in 1990 or whatever. I was like, is that this chick's daughter or something? Because that's how much they look alike or whatever. So they over there, she's like, okay, well, what's up with BBD? And Ricky is like, you know, everything is mental. You know, so I got this memorized. Hold on. Okay, so their music is mentally hip hop, smoothed out on the R&B tip with a pop feel appeal to it, right? So that's, that's what it is. That's right. So Bobby's over there being stupid. You know, they didn't kick me out the group, something like that, or whatever. Mike is kind of being a little condescending to Ralph, talking about, you need help with your album or whatever. You know, I'll help you. And this nice beeper going off in the middle of the interview and stuff. And then we see Ralph's sensitivity video. Girl, in a dozen. Since you went away, don't need a man that'll give you money. I don't care what anybody says about Ralphie. I like Ralphie, and I like that song, and I actually really enjoyed that album. I listened to it, and I think it's kind of underrated. He actually had a nice album. I mean, it was overshadowed by Bobby's, but he had a nice album, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, she goes and asks Johnny, you know, what's it like, you know, getting into this group, you know, that was already established. And he was like, you know, I already knew the guys beforehand, so it was all right. You know, I just came in and do what I do. And he starts singing, you know, put on your red dress and slip on them high heels. And everybody like, oh! So then we go into my, you sure look good, my, sweet little thing that you do. So we get a little taste of all of that good old Johnny extraness that we all know and love. So then let me see here. Where are we? So Ralph at the end of that interview says, yeah, we about to do another New Edition album. We about to go back into the studio in a few months. Fast forward 6 years later. 6 years later, right? So then they're at the Home Again album cover photo shoot. And I'm telling you, man, when I say these dudes looked clean, I mean, they had on the white suits and they was looking fresh. Like, I love that album cover, like, in real life, and I love them reenacting that album cover. That shit was fly. Like, they are already good looking men, but you put some black men in some white suits? Come on now. Hold on a second. Right here. Trying to make it a little bit brighter in here. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It was light, now it's getting darker and stuff like that. So, sorry about that, you guys. So, we see them at the Home Again photo shoot, and we get a little glimpse of something that we really wasn't prepared for. Ricky is popping pills in his drink, and we're like, what the hell is going on? What is Ricky up to? So then they do the shot. Bobby is over there asleep, drunk, high, I don't know, all of the above. Ain't nobody got time for that. He looked good though. He looked good though. I was just hoping he didn't get no slobber on his suit. Then he get up and take the picture and he all smirking like, I don't want nothing to do with this shit. So then we proceed to go, they're getting ready for this tour. So they all pull up to the hotel with 6 different tour buses and stuff. Like, they all balling like that. And Brooke is like, they all in debt. Only, you know, Mike and Bobby is good, but these motherfuckers are in debt. They ain't got money for this. And they got friggin' their entourage in 5-star hotels, and everybody is flying first class to every city. Or the whole entourage, first class. You know what I'm saying? And then Jeffrey is like, you know, so how the rehearsals going? Rehearsals? What rehearsals? Bobby slept through most of it. And the rest of them just half-assed it. And that's really such a shame, because that Home Again album, I recently listened to this album. That Home Again album is the truth. Like, that is some serious, grown and sexy, real good, like, R&B music. And it's a shame that the tour got cut short for such a great album. And I actually wish that the actors would have had a chance to perform one of the songs off that album. They had a song called Hit Me On. Mind on my money and the money's on me. It was a real cool video. I wish they could have kind of reenacted that, like Grown and Sexy Men. I would have liked to see that. But you know, so their egos are on 100 or whatever. So the tour is starting off on not such a good note because Bobby already missed 4 dates out of 9. And so they do the show, and then Bobby shows up at the end of the show talking about, we're about to do this, and they like, nah. But the crowd is roaring for Bobby, so Bobby goes out there and, you know, does his thing. So then we see Ricky at home. He's doing coke. So we find out Ricky is a cokehead too. Who'd have thought? We just thought it was Bobby. You know, y'all busy concentrating on Bobby. Y'all don't know that the rest of the members of the group got issues and stuff. So then we go back to the tour, and we come back to the part in the beginning of the movie where, you know, Ronnie bombards Bobby on stage because he's taking up too much time and everything, singing My Prerogative, turning a 4-minute song into 40 minutes and shit like that. Crazy mess. So the fight ensues, as I mentioned before, and nobody actually ends up getting shot when the gun goes off, but it causes Brooke to have a heart attack. Like, Brooke is like, I can't take it. You know, he's a cool, calm, and collected dude, and he's like, these boys gonna send me to my early grave. I swear to God, yo, these boys gonna send me to an early grave. So he has a heart attack and everything like that. Ronnie is just frantic. He's like, yo, my uncle, like, I want to get in there. I want to go with uncle. He's just going bananas. And Bobby comes out and he's like, yo, what the hell? What happened to Strokes? Or whatever. He's like, what you mean what happened to Strokes? You know you don't give a shit about this. And you've been doing this shit since we were kids. And then it like, Ronnie is going off on Bobby. And Johnny's trying to hold him back. He's like, get off of me or whatever. And then Ralph is like, oh no. Ronnie quits the tour. He's like, bottom line is I'm done. So Ronnie's out. And then Ralph is like, man, I don't need this. And then Johnny is like, this is a waste of my time. And Bobby says something slick to Johnny, and Johnny is like, what? You ain't did shit for me. He get up in his face and everything like that. And you know, Ralph trying to break it up or whatever. Bottom line is, everybody quits. Mike quits. Oh, Ralph says some slick shit to Mike. Like, if I would have quit 10 years ago, you would have a career or whatever the case may be. So that continues the Ralph and Mike beef that they have. So then Ricky is like, to Mike, what are we gonna do? We still have dates. Like, what are we gonna do? And Mike is like, nigga, this shit is over. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Shit is done. So then we see Ricky at home again, going through all of his bills and paperwork or whatever, and we find out that he is about to lose his house. Okay, they quit. He explains to his wife or girlfriend or whatever that they quit in the middle of the tour. MCA has a lawsuit against them. They're garnishing his publishing. He's like, there is no more money. She's like, there's nobody that you can ask. He's like, I'm not asking these niggas for nothing. They can go suck it. I don't care. My pride too big for that. He's like, you know anybody with a truck, call him and get some boxes. He's like, this is the only thing I know how to do. This is it. This is all I know how to do. That's it. I can't sell cars. I'm not going to work at McDonald's. That's what I do. So just want to say that. I just want to point out, fast forward to now, Ricky Bell's net worth is about $14 or $15 million. I don't know where he got all that money from when he didn't have nothing and around about 98, 99 or whatever, but he figured that out or whatever. So we see now Johnny is with LSG. My body all over your body, babe. We see where everybody is kind of doing during this hiatus. Ralph is over there getting a divorce. They don't show Bobby, but we know Bobby is being Bobby. And Mike is being a boss over there in his office, apparently taking money from somebody else. So that's what he's doing. And we see Ronnie in real estate class, and homeboy from ATL, the big dude's like, Ronnie DeVoe is in here? Like, what in the hell is going on? He's that hard off? So then we see Ricky basically overdose, and he's like coughing up blood and foam and everything like that, and it's just like such a scary moment, and his girlfriend is so scared and everything like that. And you know, he starts going to meetings. I don't know what's equivalent to the drug meeting, like what's equivalent to AA for drugs, but he starts going to those types of classes or whatever. So then we see Ronnie is getting married, and he's actually married to the lead singer of Black. If y'all remember who Black is, they sang boom like an 808, be making circles like a figure eight. And they were also in the movie Bring It On, the very first Bring It On, the only Bring It On that matters, because it was like 7 that came after it. You know, the Bring It On with Kirsten Dunst and Gabrielle Union. That Bring It On. Okay. So, you know, she's like, you know, you need to stop playing around and get your groomsmen and your best man, call your brothers, call your boys as family, because I got all my bridesmaids and I want to worry about looking cute and beautiful, and you need to get your brothers together because you know you want them at your wedding. Like, let's stop playing, okay? Anyway, so basically they all reunited at the wedding, and it was a real sweet moment. And we see Brooke come back, because I wasn't sure if he was still alive or not, because I hadn't been paying attention that he actually co-produced the movie, so I wasn't even sure. So I'm like in the movie, like I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? Bobby come up in there with a white tux on. I'm like, nigga, you ain't getting married, like you trying to upstage the groom and stuff like that, you know. Same old Bobby. But you know, he was there, he was the first one to get there, and everybody else was there and everything like that. And at the wedding, they all having a good time. You know, Ralph and Mike squash their beef and everything like that. Brooks gives a really good speech and everything. And then he's over there talking to Stephen Hill from BET, talking about, can we get them on the BET 25th anniversary special? Can we get them all together, like all 6 of them? He's like, you better act fast. And then it was a little cute part of them all singing Candy Girl to the bride. And they, my girl's like candy, a candy tree. She knocks me high up off my feet. She's so fly as can be. I know this girl is just for me, or something like that. However it go. So then we get to their BET 25th anniversary performance, and they absolutely slayed. Like there have been a lot of videos on YouTube like showing them back and forth and combining them too, and they did this to a T. Oh my gosh, especially the dude that played Ralph, Algie Smith. You cannot tell me that is Ralph Tresvant. I don't even care. He had his mannerisms to a T every single time he got up on stage. Everybody did really well portraying each other, but Ralph's character really, Algie really embodied Ralph like so much. But I love them doing that performance. They went hard, you know. They started out with If It Isn't Love, and then they went into Can You Stand the Rain? And I sang all these songs already, I'm not gonna sing them again. And then they went into Candy Girl, Candy Girl. I could just sing that one again. And then they went into Cool It Now. And then Ronnie is like, give it up for Mr. Bobby Brown. And then Bobby Brown comes out for Mr. Telephone Man. Got on that brightest red tie and everything like that. And he kind of messed flubs on the choreography because he just want to sing and do his thing, you know what I'm saying, doing all of that mess. So then they all get off the stage and they let him sing My Prerogative. So he goes out there and he sings My Prerogative, and then the boys come back up on stage at the end. It's my prerogative. Dun, 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 do that little dance move. Like, and they're like, tell me why can I live my life? And I'm like just feeling it, like the brotherhood, the camaraderie. It's so great and everything. And they just killed that. They just did an absolutely amazing job. There's a couple of things that people have talked about that they wished was shown in the movie. My only real gripe about this is that there was still 7 minutes left after they did that performance and the movie was basically over. So I'm like, where's my 7 minutes at? We could have put another performance in there, because I was like, okay, Bobby sang My Prerogative like 3 times in this movie. Couldn't we have gotten a little bit, it's just a tenderoni, she's a real fine girl. I'm saying the words wrong, but the truth about Roni, she's a little girl. Bring it right too nice and hold you tight. That's my favorite song by him, and I don't even know all the goddamn words. Okay, so, but I would have liked to see him sing that. But what I really would have liked to see, and I mentioned this earlier, is them do a song off the Home Again album, particularly Hit Me Off, and like reenact that video, because that video was super hot. It was like really their first video together as grown-ass men. I love every song on the album. Like everybody, even Bobby sounds good. Like everybody just did it on that album. It was such a great album. So I'm a little bit upset that they didn't really showcase the actors performing any of those songs off of that album. But other than that, I'm perfectly fine with the movie, and it was absolutely great. Black excellence, Black boy joy, all of that. Black History Month, starting out the year black, you know what I'm saying? I know that Trump is the president, but we really starting out the year black here, people. Blackness, that's what I'm talking about. And I just have to say, I need to see them performing at the NAACP Awards, at the BET Awards. I need to see them getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, New Edition. They got the Soul Train Award and everything. I need to see them get a Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Awards. And I know that these other award shows aren't black, but hell, I want them performing at the VMAs, the Billboard Music Awards, the American Music Awards. I want them to get Lifetime Achievement Awards. It might be too soon for the Grammys, but hell, I like to see them on the Grammy. They ain't never get a goddamn Grammy. What the hell is going on with this life? Like, what in the world is going on? So, anyway, that was the New Edition movie. I've been hyped. I will continue to be hyped. And I am sorry and apologize if you can no longer see me. It started out light and now it's dark. And I don't have a light in here. So, my bad. My apologies. Bye.